Most parents think their baby is too attached. But what if following you everywhere is actually a powerful survival instinct? One week, your baby is happily crawling around the room, playing with a spoon for 20 straight minutes, like they've discovered treasure. And then, suddenly, you can't go anywhere alone. Bathroom? They follow you. Kitchen? Tiny footsteps behind you. You stand up for 2 seconds, and somehow, they already know. It feels like it happened overnight. A lot of parents notice this phase and immediately think the same thing. Why is my baby suddenly so clingy? But here's what most people don't realize. This behavior is actually a massive developmental shift happening right inside your baby's brain. And strangely enough, it's usually a healthy sign. Because for the first time, your baby is beginning to understand something they didn't fully understand before. You can leave. That sounds simple to us. But to a baby, it changes everything. Before this stage, babies live very much in the present moment. If they can't see something, it almost stops existing in their mind. But as their brain develops, they slowly begin understanding distance, separation, and memory. Now they realize, Mom was here a second ago, and now she's gone. That realization creates a completely new emotional response. And that's why your baby suddenly starts tracking you everywhere. Not because they want to annoy you, not because you spoiled them, and definitely not because they're manipulating you. They're trying to stay connected to the person their brain sees as safety. Your baby is not following you because they're spoiled. They're following you because their brain believes you are safety itself. And once you understand that, their behavior starts looking completely different. Think about this for a second. Your baby could be sitting in a room full of toys, bright colors, sounds, movement. Everything around them is designed to grab attention. But the moment you leave the room, none of it matters anymore. Suddenly they crawl after you like they've lost something important, because in their mind, they have. A lot of parents secretly worry during this phase. Did I hold them too much? Did I make them too dependent? Why can't they stay alone for even a minute? But human babies are actually born expecting closeness, not independence. And biologically, that makes perfect sense. For most of human history, staying close to a caregiver meant survival, warmth, food, protection, safety from danger. A baby who stayed near trusted adults was more likely to survive. So even though we live in modern homes now, your baby's brain is still wired with those ancient instincts. That's why they calm down when they hear your voice, why they stop crying when you pick them up, why they search for you the second they feel uncertain. Your presence changes what's happening inside their nervous system. And here's the surprising part. Your baby isn't just following you. They're following the feeling your presence creates inside their brain. But here's what most parents never realize. The way you respond during this clingy phase can actually shape how secure and confident your child becomes later in life. And there's one very common parenting reaction that accidentally makes separation anxiety even worse without parents noticing it. The clinginess usually starts right when your baby becomes smarter. That's the strange part. The behavior that worries so many parents is often a sign that their baby's brain is developing exactly the way it should, because suddenly, your baby realizes something huge. You can leave, not just move across the room, actually disappear. And for a baby, that realization changes the entire world. Before this stage, babies live very much in the now. If they can't see something, they don't fully think about where it went. Out of sight often means out of mind, but then their brain reaches a new developmental stage, and everything shifts. Now, when you walk toward the door, your baby remembers you exist even after you're gone. That may sound tiny to us, but for them, it's enormous, because now they understand separation without fully understanding return. That's why this phase feels so emotional. Your baby knows you left, but they don't yet fully trust when you're coming back. A baby doesn't choose their favorite person randomly. It's built, moment by moment, through smell, sound, touch, and routine. And once you understand that, the way your baby follows you everywhere suddenly makes perfect sense. Because to your baby, you are not just a parent, you are a full sensory experience. Your smell becomes familiar, your voice becomes grounding, your touch becomes safety. Your routine becomes predictability in a world they don't understand yet. And over time, all of that combines into something powerful, a safe base. That's why your baby keeps coming back to you again and again. Not because they're dependent in a negative way, but because your presence is what helps their little nervous system settle. This is the part most parents never expect. Sometimes, the very way we try to help our baby become independent is the thing that makes them hold on tighter. Not because parents are doing something wrong on purpose, but because small reactions, repeated over time, can quietly shape how safe or unsafe separation feels to a baby. Imagine this common moment. Your baby is playing nearby. Everything feels fine. You decide to step away for a second, and then your baby notices. Sometimes parents slip out quickly, hoping the baby won't notice. Sometimes they leave without a word because they think it will make things easier. Sometimes they get frustrated and say, "You're okay, stop crying." But to a baby's brain, these moments start to build a pattern, a confusing pattern, because the message is no longer consistent. Sometimes you disappear suddenly. Sometimes you come back fast. Sometimes you sound stressed. And the baby's brain is constantly trying to solve one question: what happens when the person I rely on leaves? Not all clingy babies are anxious. Some are simply experiencing the world more intensely than others. And honestly, that changes everything. Because many parents quietly blame themselves during this phase. They look at other babies, sitting calmly across the room, and think, "Why is my baby so attached to me? Why can't they stay alone for even 5 minutes?" But babies are born with different temperaments, different sensitivity levels, different emotional responses, different ways of processing the world. One baby might adapt quickly to new people, loud environments, and routine changes. Another baby might need much more time, reassurance, and closeness before feeling safe. Neither baby is better. They're just wired differently. Sensitive babies notice more than we think. They react strongly to noise, to unfamiliar faces, to emotional tension, to sudden changes in routine. And when babies feel overstimulated, they naturally move toward what feels safe and predictable. Usually, that means you. When you leave the room, your baby isn't thinking, "Mom will be back in 5 minutes." Their world just changed instantly. The person who feels like safety, comfort, and calm suddenly disappeared. And in that moment, those tiny cries aren't manipulation. They're your baby asking the only question their heart understands: are you still coming back to me? So, what can parents actually do during this phase? The goal is not to force independence, it's to build enough emotional safety that independence grows naturally. Give short, predictable separations. Instead of disappearing suddenly, let your baby see you leave and return calmly. Respond consistently, not perfectly. You don't have to get every moment right. What matters most is being emotionally reliable over time. Create small connection rituals. A smile before leaving the room. A quick, "I'll be back." Tiny routines help babies feel secure. Let them explore while staying emotionally available. Confident babies usually aren't pushed away from parents. They feel safe enough to move away on their own. Remember, clinginess is often a phase, not a personality. Your baby is learning trust, safety, and separation all at once. That takes time. One day, your baby will stop following you from room to room. The tiny footsteps behind you will disappear so gradually, you probably won't notice the last time it happens. And the phase that once felt exhausting will suddenly feel strangely quiet. So, the next time your baby reaches for you, cries when you leave, or follows you everywhere, try to remember what it really means. You are not just their parent in that moment. You are their safety, their comfort, their whole safe world. If this video connected with you, let me know in the comments what phase your little one is in right now. And subscribe for more parenting videos that help us understand the small moments a little differently. There's another reason this phase feels so emotionally intense for parents. It often arrives at the exact moment they're already exhausted. Maybe you finally thought your baby was becoming more independent. Maybe you had just started getting small moments to yourself again. A quiet cup of tea, a quick shower without rushing, a few peaceful minutes while your baby played nearby. And then suddenly, everything changes. Your baby wants to be held constantly. They cry when you leave the room. They crawl after you faster than ever before. Even simple tasks start feeling impossible. And sometimes, if we're honest, it can feel overwhelming, because no matter how deeply we love our children, being needed every second of the day is emotionally draining. But what makes this phase confusing is that parents often interpret clinginess as a step backward, like somehow their baby was becoming independent and now suddenly regressed. But development in babies rarely moves in a straight line. Growth often comes in waves, and many times, right before a baby reaches a major developmental leap, they become temporarily more attached. It's almost like their brain is saying, "I'm entering something new and unfamiliar. Stay close while I figure this out." That's why clinginess often appears around huge milestones: crawling, walking, language development, sleep changes, starting daycare, meeting unfamiliar people. Even small routine shifts that adults barely notice can feel enormous to a baby, because babies experience the world for the very first time. Every sound, separation, face, and environment is still new to them. And during periods of rapid brain development, many babies naturally seek extra reassurance from the people who make them feel safe. What's fascinating is that secure attachment doesn't create weakness, it creates confidence. When babies consistently feel safe returning to a trusted caregiver, they slowly become more comfortable exploring the world around them. That's why emotionally secure children often move away from parents more confidently over time. not because they were forced to separate too early, but because they developed trust. Trust that comfort is available when needed. Trust that separation is temporary. Trust that love doesn't disappear when someone leaves the room. And that trust becomes the foundation for independence later in life.